With summertime officially upon us, it's time to bust out the Hawaiian shirts. Ladies, please, one at a time. I'm just a man. So The Invite is a brand new 2026 comedy drama starring and directed by Olivia Wilde. The film also stars Seth Rogen, Edward Norton, and Penelope Cruz. And the story centers around Wilde and Rogen, who are a couple, Joe and Angela. They have been together for a very long time. They share a kid together. They're married. Their relationship has reached a point where they're kind of tired of each other. They resent each other. The spark is gone. The intimacy is gone. You probably know a couple like this. It's headed towards the end. It's not healthy. And so when they invite over their upstairs neighbors, Penelope Cruz and Edward Norton, interesting dynamics start to shape as the invite, the title of the movie, takes on different meanings. There's the initial invitation of the dinner, and then there's a follow-up invitation that Edward Norton and Penelope Cruz have towards Rogen and Wilde. That invitation is a little bit more X-rated. It's, to swap partners. And so interesting dialogue starts to take place. Overall, the dialogue of this movie is amazing. I have to give so much praise to the screenwriters, Rashida Jones and Will McCormack. They wrote one hell of a script that's so tight and compact. It doesn't leave any space for a boring moment, for a dull moment. And the actors and the director take such advantage of that because everyone gets their moment to shine. From Olivia Wilde to Seth Rogen to Edward Norton to Penelope Cruz. This movie is so well casted. I heard that Pedro Pascal was initially supposed to play Edward Norton's part, and while I think Pascal is an amazing actor, no one else could have played this part like Edward Norton did. This was the most Edward Norton part that he has played in such a long time. Such a good use of everyone and everything connected to this film. Everything from the score to the set design, the actors, the director, everything was so good. This is going to shape up to be one of my favorite movies of the year, and it takes place in one setting. You have a movie where all the space is the living room, the bedroom, the bathroom, the kitchen. That's it. 4 rooms, 4 people for like an hour and 47 minutes. And it never has a boring moment. It's never dull. It never lets go of the intrigue. And it's so well made. I was a big fan of Olivia Wilde's first directorial debut, Booksmart, back in 2019. Another well-made movie about, a pair of teenagers that are best friends that are going to different colleges. It was an X-rated coming-of-age story with great comedy. I was a big fan of Booksmart, and I was excited to see where Olivia Wilde's directing career took off after that. And then she made Don't Worry, Darling, and that movie was cursed from the beginning. From the behind-the-scenes drama to the bad publicity it got, the overarching shadow of her very public and messy divorce, it all was just an unfortunate storm that led to a very bad movie. And so I was kind of wary of what her next project would be, but she has one hell of a comeback with The Invite. As I've stated before, everything in this movie just stands out and does its job very well. The score is interesting. It's kind of like its own character, and the scenes and parts in which it pops up are so well timed. The pacing of this movie is incredible. The conversations, the dialogue feels so natural. Nothing feels forced. It doesn't feel like people are actually reading off of a script. It feels like people are just naturally having these conversations. And, the sex, swapping topics make for an awkward moments to come and go. But that's just kind of the frosting on top of the cake. The cake in itself is just well-written dialogue, a look into relationships, how these two couples are kind of like the inverse of each other, both as individuals and as a pair. Pina and Hawk she's a sexologist, he's a firefighter captain. Seth Rogen is a music teacher, and Olivia Wilde is kind of a stay-at-home mom that kind of tries to do her art where she can. She takes up decorating the apartment as a hobby to kind of express herself with her art. And I thought that was such an interesting decision to give the character, because you're making everything in the set align with the story, align with the character. Everything matters. Everything from the picture frame to where the lamp is to what kind of rug it is, how it's all put together. It's all an expression of Olivia Wilde's character. And I love little things like that. When a movie can, make you think about it for days later, you're still laughing at scenes playing out in your head. I think that those are the best kinds of movies. Seth Rogen, his casting, oh my God. There's kind of like this surprise factor in it because when you hear that Seth Rogen is in a movie, you're expecting the ho ho ho, smoker, weed joking, type of character, and he is that. Keep that in mind. His laugh is like in the first 5 seconds of the movie, and so when I heard it, I kind of rolled my eyes like, oh great, here we go, because although he's an okay actor, seeing that character in every film that he's in is boring. But this movie does what the film Steve Jobs did in back in like 2018, 2017, where they had Seth Rogen, but they didn't fully use him as Seth Rogen. There are so many layers to his character. When you see him pop up on screen, you expect the smoking stoner, that's kind of bitter, and that's what you kind of get. But then you start to dissect the character through dialogue, through actions, through decisions, and it's so good. I can't stop praising this movie. Yeah, from everything, from the dialogue to the score to the acting, the directing, this was just a home run. I think the film's produced by A24, and you can see why it has that small scale indie, you know, kind of feeling with heart. I think this movie only took about 20 days to shoot. That's what I heard. Less than a month. You can't even tell. This film is just so intimate and well paced. I have to recommend it. Even if, you're going either with your partner, by yourself, expect that awkward, moment or two with the jokes. Very sex filled, like I said. Very double entendre, but it's not the whole film. That's just kind of like the cape covering it. It's intriguing, and it leads to more. Such a great movie. I recommend it. I don't want to keep talking about it and breaking it down because I don't want to take away from what you get of it. But you're definitely gonna have a great time. I say go see this movie in theaters while it's still out. 10 out of 10. You're gonna love it. But that's it for this review. That's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.